El diario es muy bueno. Siempre me gusta leerlo todos los días.
In many ways, El Diario is an institution. In fact, this paper has been here through generations of not only professionals in the newspaper business, but also kind of whole different phases of the growth in this community. El Diario is an institution that represents all that is Latino and all that is New York.
La denuncia es falsa. Al final resulta que la mamá es una inmigrante mexicana. Because our readers are mainly like newly arrived immigrants, we have like an important mission to cover, and we're doing something really serious. We are trying to defend this community from abuses. We are trying to educate this community. We are trying to help them navigate the system, a new society.
In my career, I've been amused by the way that I saw when I was here in the 80s and we were doing this advocacy journalism, which didn't have a name yet. We were criticized a lot by mainstream journalists, even Latino mainstream journalists, who said that's not journalism because journalism is objective.
We have Corzine speech on reducing property taxes.
We are less than 10 years away from 100 years, if you can imagine. We're almost 100 years old. So the history is that it was started in 1913 as a weekly. By 1917, 1918, it went daily. And it has had, a lot of different ownership throughout all of that time. It was called La Prensa, and it was a broadsheet. And in the 40s and the 50s, it was really a paper where there was a lot of exchange of ideology from Latin America, from the Caribbean, where a lot of the folks who kind of were in exile from their countries because of different political activities in those countries, there was a lot of intellectual exchange here in New York. People came here, poets, authors, revolutionaries. And then in the 50s and the 60s, where there was this huge growth in the Puerto Rican community, the paper really kind of served that population. In the late 1950s, there was a paper, El Diario, was founded and was really targeted to the Puerto Rican community. And in the 1960s, almost around the time when I was born, if you can see the irony, those two papers were merged to become El Diario la Prensa. The paper is a tabloid format, which is the appropriate format for a New York City kind of commuter, type paper.
No, hablé con una secretaria.
Okay. Vale.
Pero hoy día confirmamos eso.
Vale.
Yeah?
One of the biggest challenges that I face as an assignment editor here at El Diario is the fact that on any given day I've only have 6 reporters and 3 photographers to cover the whole city. That means that I have to make better decisions than any other assignment editor.
Diario.
I get phone calls from community leaders, from people on the streets about news, about breaking news.
Metro is where we compete most openly with the New York Post and the Daily News, as well as with the Spanish language media. But we don't want simply to view our competition as Spanish language media. We're here to compete with the Post and Daily News and beat them to stories. Our communities don't get the same level of coverage, and when there is coverage, often in the English language media, we're treated as if we didn't form an organic part of the society, as if this were a different or a distant problem.
I think that 2007, the big stories for us are still immigration and kind of the changes in immigration and the impact of legislation on our communities, our readers, but also the impact of the war.
Y con relación a los centros de reclutamiento que hay, por ejemplo, como aquí en el Alto Manhattan, que buscan reclutar jóvenes de esta comunidad, que son comunidades de bajos recursos económicos.
Normally, the Hispanic neighborhoods, Hispanic community, is underrepresented in the media, in the English language media.
Sigue creciendo más la comunidad hispana y creo que es una gran ventaja que tengamos más periódicos en español.
We are the newspaper with the most international coverage of any newspaper in New York, including the Times.
El mayor número de nuestros lectores partimos de lo obvio que es Puerto Rico, después viene México, República Dominicana, Colombia, Perú y así en ese orden, y Centroamérica.
Todo el tiempo desde que estoy aquí en este país siempre he comprado el diario nomás.
The editorials are in English and Spanish, and being that they represent the identity of the paper and the position of the paper, I think that that initiative came through a need to reach a broader audience and let people know, whether they're policymakers, elected officials, know what some of the sentiment and opinions are of the community, the Latino community at large.
Perfecto. Empecemos con Metro.
Vamos a darle seguimiento al caso de la señora que tiró su verdad a la basura.
It's not a team that usually comes out of journalism school, but rather a team that have arrived at journalism through a variety of personal life experiences. And they draw different knowledge and use it within their work.
My goal is to strengthen the paper so that it will always be here as a career route, for future generations of journalists and newspaper people.
Well, we're like the United Nations, right? And you can hear it in our meetings by the accents. There are representatives from almost every Latin American country. Mario is our sports editor, and as you can see on his desk, he has the award for Best Sports Section for a Spanish language newspaper in the United States. What's great about them is that they bring an amazing enthusiasm to their work. They know that every day we go to press, we're competing with some of the richest media in the world capital of the media.
I think ethnic media is freedom. It's kind of freedom to really serve your reader, your public, your, in my case, Latino community. And I think that whereas in the past people wanted to be in mainstream, I think today people in mainstream envy us in ethnic media because we're very targeted. We don't have to try to serve the world and the tri-state, and we know exactly who our target is, we know their name, we know where they live, we know what their passion is.